So, in episode 33, Trey of Treforia bestows the powers of the Gold Ranger and control of the Carrier Zord Pyramidus over to former Red Ranger Jason, thus ending the 7-episode arc of Who is the Gold Ranger? In addition to handing over the awesome powers of the Gold Ranger, as a sign of trust and a token of appreciation, Trey also hands over a box containing the 5 legendary Super Zeo gems. Each gem is capable of growing to a giant size and changing itself into a Super Zeo Zord. The Super Zeo Zords are somewhat unique in that they don't have any unique power for each one. They all do exactly the same thing. However, in a first for the franchise, they are capable of wielding upscaled versions of the Ranger's own weapons, which is pretty nice, but unfortunately is not recreated here, even though some of them have holes in the hands that are capable of actually holding something. But I digress. But in addition to the scaled-up Ranger weapons, each one is capable of emitting a giant energy blast from the large shapes on their chest. So they do have capabilities on their own. They are also all capable of both flying through the air and swimming underwater. That's pretty impressive. It's unfortunate, though, that the toys can't really recreate a lot of that. Well, yeah, of course, you could dunk them in your tub, but unfortunately the decals would peel off eventually. And you could throw them through the air, but they would break when they hit the ground. For the toy versions, they all have the same poseability. The arms rotate forward, ratchet forward. I had to make a fix on the shoulder on this one. Anyways, yeah, the arms ratchet forward and backwards every 45 degrees, all the way around. The exception to this is Super Zeo Zord 3, which the arms cannot push any further forward than that, but you can flip them up and over, and even they won't go all the way around. The only way to remedy this is to transform the shoulder joint outwards, and you can push it forward. Anyways, yeah. Super Zeo Zords 3 and 5 also have the capability of limited poseability in the legs, but, you know, it won't really hold. See? Kind of. And that's about... Oh! And Super Zeo Zord 5 also has the unique capability, due to transformation mostly, to be able to turn its head side to side. Although obviously it looks real strange when you do it, because it's off-center. But anyways, yeah, that's an option. Super Zeo Zord 5 is also in the unique position, and I don't know why, even after all this time, the arms can bend outwards. I don't know why, but they do. So, yeah. And that's it for, well, really poseability, and they just sit there and look nice on your shelf. That's what the Super Zeo Zords do best on their own. Transformation for the Super Zeo Zords is very simple, very easy to understand. Although you have to remember with number 1, Super Zeo Zord 1, which side to hang on to, because you actually have to pull the head over a little. That down, that down. The only thing I don't like about Super Zeo Zord 2 is how the Super Zeo Megazord's helmet was dealt with. It just kind of hangs on the back. Now, technically, it is capable of being pulled off, but it's one of those things, it needs something there for it to work, but what's there doesn't work very well. So it becomes a necessary evil. And here's a nice touch. Press the knee pads here, and that's nice. Pull back. And the head just flips and back, sits there. Super Zeo Zord 4, kind of similar. And then what I like, notice how it's not really front heavy, it's not really back heavy, but anyways, I like how it does that. And same thing over here. So you get that. And last but not least, now let's put it all together. The reason that the little yellow triangle decals are missing on the lower torso of Super Zeo Zord 3 is because of this transformation button thingy right there. Rubs right up against them. And just pushed them off within a couple of weeks, if that. I can't remember. It's been so long. It's surprising how well the angle joints actually hold everything. You'd think it would just slip around back and forth, but no, it works just fine. Of course, as I say this, it's goofing up. This is my fourth take on the transformation alone. I suck. Snaps into there. I like how the arms fit into the feet like that. And then officially, the crest is supposed to stay down, but slowly it'll work its way back up. But anyways, there is the Super Zeo Megazord. Poseability is as follows. The arms ratchet at several angles, which is quite nice. Because of transformation, I think, they can go outwards. How about that? And then, here's another awesome part. Elbow articulation. Oh my god. This thing is definitely a successor to the Zeo Zord because it also has elbow articulation in this direction. Because of transformation, I don't care. There it is. The only thing we lose is the wrist joints. We lose out on that. But, OMG. We got some decent articulation again. Now, even though the transformation joints in Super Zeo Zord 3, it splits apart, because of the way things are aligned in back here, it just can't spread apart. I mean, you wish it could spread apart a little bit, but it won't let you. And you would also think there'd be some ankle articulation, but I'm kind of forcing it right now, so you can try and force it apart, but eventually you'll break the two joints right there. So you got arm articulation at the cost of a little bit of leg articulation. I don't care. I'm satisfied. And the reason for that awesome arm articulation is so that the Super Zeo Megazord can wield the, well, Super Zeo Megazord sabers. Which, in the show, they're actually silver with gold guards, but PVC. Kind of had to do it. Anyways, they both fit very nicely into the hands. How about that? How about that? Ooh. Yeah, here's something interesting. The shoulder joints, the primary shoulder joints, very, very tight, unusually tight. I don't know why, but they just are. And so it has a tendency to pop off, except when I'm putting the video on YouTube and everybody's watching, of course. So you can get some good arm articulation in. Awesome. A couple of episodes later, a situation comes up where the Rangers need to summon a Zeo Ultrazord. And even though the Zeo Megazord was available for battle, they chose to use the Super Zeo Megazord. I don't know why, they just did. So anyways, yeah. If you will recall, when I did the review for, oh, that was convenient. When I did the review for Pyramidas, I said that this panel could come out. I wasn't planning to do it in that order. Oh well. This panel comes off, and here's why. there's a pair of tabs on the outside here, fairly inconspicuous, wouldn't give them a second thought, and they match up with a pair of tabs on the inside here. And you cannot just put it straight in, because the shoulders will bump in. So what you actually have to do is put it in and wiggle it around a fairly bit. Now, his heels actually push up against the ramp here, so that when I lift up, it shifts around, and the panel that he's standing on is actually lower than the shoulders can accommodate. So generally it's just a bad way that this is done. But anyways, that goes there. Put this here. You put this on here, and then you just set this off to the side. And there you have the Zeo Ultrazord robot mode. Now here's the funny thing. In the series, it's called the Zeo Ultrazord, but in marketing, and actually once or twice in the series, which actually might have been a fluke in writing, it's referred to as the Super Zeo Ultrazord. Now there isn't any difference between Zeo Ultrazord robot mode and Super Zeo Ultrazord. It's just Super and robot mode get exchanged. And really, something that I actually neglected to mention in Pyramidus' review, along with a couple other things, is how else are you going to know which one it is unless you move the red Battlezord, you know? That was kind of what I was trying to point out, my complaint, that the Zeo Ultrazords, all three of them, there isn't really anything to distinguish them in robot mode. That was actually something I disliked about the Ultrazords. Much as we all enjoy our Ultra combinations, this is one I didn't care much for. So yeah, there is the Super Zeo Ultrazord. Oh, and for laughs, you can do that. Doesn't do it in the show, but it's funny, isn't it? No, it's not funny. It's not funny at all. There's a couple of reasons why I like the Super Zeo Megazord. One of them is that it doesn't try to be anything more than what it is, which is just a big, blocky robot. That's all it is. Conehead. It doesn't have any particular style to it. It's just blocky, solid design. Katanas. One of the other reasons I like it is how the giant shapes were integrated into it. It just fits. Especially right here in the torso, it just fits together really well. It doesn't work so much on the legs, because they're kind of split apart. But even the square fits on the bottom of the triangle. It just works really well with itself. Now, on the other hand, I definitely get a G1 Transformers combiner feel to this thing. And we're talking mid-1980s when I say that. They're also a lot smaller. And the reason I say that is, with the Super Zeo Megazord, the limbs don't really transform. They just kind of fold away somewhere else, and that's it. Actually, now that I think about it, the arrangement of everything back here, how it's kind of perfectly lined up, that kind of works for me too. It's really nice. It's not a backpack. It's not, how do I say it, a special weapon feature or anything like that. It's simply part of the robot, and it gives it a much more mechanical feel to it, much more, shall I say, real robot style to it. Pistons and generators and things like that. It's kind of nice. Actually, in some ways, it kind of reminds me of the way things are lined up on the back of the SDF-1 from Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. I think this is the Matchbox version. I got mine secondhand. But anyways, things are vertical and lined up, and it's very, form before function, things like that. Don't ask me if I'm going to review this. I can't, because somebody else on CDX already reviewed it, so do not ask. Anyways, not to compare one to the other, of course, but it kind of has that feeling. Just little details on top of big blocky details. Kind of like that. Anyways, yeah, chances are this is the only time this will appear on screen, probably because it's missing its head. That's no way for the Honorable SDF1 to go out at Macross. So yeah, I like that it has that it kind of sort of has form before function working here, which Zords usually don't do. In fact, the only thing I really don't like is how the head was dealt with. Yeah, it's kind of cool head design, blah blah blah, but it's a cone head. Come on, honestly. So yeah, I'm not real big on that. And I don't like it how it just kind of hangs off the back of Super Zeo Zord 2. I mean, couldn't it have folded up inside or something? I also wish that the individual Super Zeo Zords would have had the scaled version of the Rangers' weapons that they could have held. You know, the sword, the shield, and even the Zeo laser pistol and sword. I wish they had provided those like they did with the weapons on the Deluxe Shogun Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3 in 1995. So I was a little disappointed by that, but, well, at least they gave us the katana weapons, I guess. Oh, and one last thing before I forget. For those of you wondering what the differences are between the Deluxe Super Zeo Megazord and its original Japanese counterpart, the DX Choriki Gatai O blocker, once again, they are perfectly identical to each other. This is Bandai America in 1996, when they were doing things the right way. It just works. All the colors, all the materials, all the molds, all the paint details, everything's perfectly identical. I think Bandai America needs to take a look at what they did before and try and do that again, because it used to be awesome what they did way back when, not so awesome what they're doing today. But that's another argument for other reviews. So yeah, I'm totally satisfied with my Deluxe Super Zeo Megazord. It's just awesome. And while it does have that blocky form before function kinda sort of style to it, it doesn't really detract from any of the other Zords in Power Rangers Zeo. It just works really well. Oh, posable elbows, wrists, extra posable shoulders for the win. And unless I am much mistaken, I think this was the last time that we ever had posable elbows on a deluxe-sized Megazord. After 96, that was it. The Deluxe Wild Force Megazord also had elbow articulation and a little bit of extra shoulder articulation, but not to the same as this. And really, that's been it. So that's another reason why I love this design, because it gave us something that we haven't really seen since, which is actually rather lame, but I digress. This is AV Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com, signing off.